What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Horror. I'm Tensa, and today I'm here to discuss the good horror films can do for us during our low points. When we're not doing so well, we all find our own ways to find comfort. There are those that enjoy getting out into nature, going on hikes, runs, walks to soak up the fresh air and relax. Others indulge themselves into their hobbies like arts, crafts, video games, and reading. Then there are those that sink themselves into a comfy seat and turn on a movie. I believe when many go to movies for relief, they go to the standard comedies, adventures, actions, animation, or superheroes. Not me. And probably not a lot of other people. Nah, for me, I always go to my horror collection and see what can cheer me up. I think fans of the genre find horror as the best form of comfort and escapism from the horrors we have to suffer through, especially today. I'm sure there are plenty of people who don't understand how anyone could find comfort in horror, but I think it comes down to what we connect with. When we're struggling, what do we feel a bond with that we know can undoubtedly put us in a better state of mind? Watching horror may be out of the norm, but that doesn't matter because it's what makes some of us feel better. It can be because they're fun, so bad they're good, or just so good they're good. It doesn't matter. That's another reason I love the genre. While it does help to be good, they don't have to be to generate enjoyment. The variety is absolutely endless. I personally go to the ones that have that nostalgia factor, are fun, or can bring up decent discussions. But what are some of my favorite comfort horror movies? They may come off as predictable, but let's take a look anyway. This will come as a shock to no one who knows me, but Friday the 13th as a franchise is my biggest go-to for comfort. I grew up on them and just absolutely loved Jason. It's always been my favorite of the big three, and honestly, I can pop in any entry at any time, except Jason X, and just feel more at ease. They take me back to my times as a kid and how I admired how badass I thought Jason Voorhees was, along with the creative ways he dispatched teens. I remember going down to Video Showcase, renting, and wearing out the VHSs. Which is a very old-fashioned sentence.
That's like when your grandma would be like, we'd all go play jacks down at the soda fountain. You're like, no one knows what you're talking about, you idiot.
I'm sure I didn't know exactly what was going on in my younger years, but as I got older, I started to actually pay attention and had a really good time with them, but also began to distinguish which entries I thought were good and my favorites. The Paramount years are certainly my favorite, but more specifically, I'd say that parts 2 through 7 are the ones I can watch on any given day. That batch is really just filled with those that are fun, sometimes really good movies that don't have to be watched only in October or on a Friday the 13th. I don't need any occasion to say, hey, I'm gonna watch Jason Lives. I just freaking do it when I'm bored or having a bad day. Even if it's on edited for TV, I don't mind throwing one on for background noise. I think many horror fans find it to be one of the simplest franchises and therefore not that good, but I speak from the heart when I say, fuck you, you're wrong, it's awesome. Now let's talk Halloween. This will come as a shock, but if we're talking comfort, I rarely go to the original. Yes, while I've touted it as my personal favorite movie of all time, I can't tell you that it's my immediate choice to chill out with. It's a slow burn, tense buildup of a film. It's fantastic, but for whatever strange reason, I don't have the desire for it during downtimes. The entries I do go to are Halloween 2, the original, not Rob Zombie's, Halloween 4, and Halloween H2O. These are the three I remember the most from my childhood. Halloween 2 is just more fun and outlandish than the original with how brutal Myers is with his kills, and I was always a fan of the creepy hospital setting. Halloween 4 may have been one of, if not the first Halloween entries I saw. We rented it for a Halloween party we were going to, but my sisters and I asked our mom if we could watch it before going, and we did. I loved it so much, thought Michael was pretty scary, despite his derpy mask, and the ending shocked me because I was dumb enough to think that it was Michael that killed Jamie's stepmom. H2O was more so an enjoyment to a young me because it didn't scare me. I thought it was cool and loved the final fight / Michael decapitation at the end. I wanted to show it to my friends and act all tough because I was like, this is a scary movie and it didn't scare me. In hindsight, that may come off as a negative for the film, and it is, but it doesn't detract from how much I enjoy it. These three Halloweens are definitely comfort movies for me, but the only downside is that I can't necessarily watch them whenever. I usually break out the Blu-rays right around October, but Halloween 2 is my favorite choice. Next up is a franchise I'll go more in depth into very soon, but Child's Play. I really don't want to talk too much about them because I want to save a majority of my thoughts for when I start reviewing the series. But I had to include it here because, spoiler, it's my third favorite horror franchise. It's mostly a great series. mostly. Chucky is such a fun character for being a killer doll thanks to his sadistic attitude, dark humor, and genuine freakiness at times. I was terrified of him as a kid, but I eventually got over that fear after many years. My favorites are the first four, the original up to Bride of Chucky. They're all very different from one another in terms of tone, but Chucky is the dominant force that makes them work. My personal favorite, literally the one I can watch at any time, is Child's Play 2. Kinda talked about it in my top 10 1990s horror movies, but I think it's the best in the franchise thanks to how insane it gets. The original is great and creepy, but with a sequel, you can't repeat the "is the doll really alive or not" storyline, so making Chucky more active and humorous makes it much more amusing. Again, the first four are good times for me and bring comfort anytime, but part 2 is my shit. Finally, another one I really don't want to express too much about until I get to its review, but goddamn do I love Scream. If it's on TV, I stop what I'm doing and turn it on. If I'm in the mood for horror but also want to laugh, the original has a ton of moments that make me laugh, just as much as any comedy. It's also my most quotable film I've ever seen. I sometimes sneak quotes from it into reviews, see if you could find them. And in real life conversations. The best thing about it though? It's a damn good movie. It's scary, has an amazing opening, great characters, and a well done mystery element as you try to figure out who the killer is. I saw this back in 1997 when it came to home video and watched it with my family in our game room/basement. We had such a good time as we got scared, laughed, and constantly guessed at who was Ghostface. Easily one of my favorite comfort movies. So those are my personal comfort horror movies, and oddly enough, they're all slashers. I'm sure there are plenty of you who are saying to yourself, how can one find comfort and enjoyment out of watching people get picked off by some killer? What are you, some kind of weirdo? No, I'm not. For me, it boils down to fun factor and nostalgia. I grew up with these movies, and I think I'm doing just fine.
You're doing great! Good! Then I'll keep it up!
In all seriousness, I just had fun with them as a kid. I wasn't affected negatively, even though I'm sure someone like Jamie Lee Curtis would say that my mom was not a good person for letting me watch slasher movies. Most of them are based in a very heightened reality, so even as a kid, I didn't take them too seriously or get traumatized by the violence because I knew it was all fake. I turned out fine, and if anything, it surprisingly made me appreciate the art of filmmaking. Horror is what I turn to when I'm feeling lost. I've always strived to entertain friends, family, and viewers in the way that these movies entertained me, by having fun and being the comfort they sometimes need. But let me know what you guys think. What are some of your comfort horror movies? Do we share any similarities, or do you have a different subgenre you prefer? Don't forget to subscribe and follow my Twitter and Instagram. Links to those are in the description. Next week, I want to take a good look at what exactly makes a movie horror. So until next time, peace.